I'd rather show you what I got. Where I walk, where I talk. See me flying down my route, pass me the ball. I ain't dropping none, I don't fumble at all. Winner, chicken dinner every time we ball. Throwing it like a burner, I dunk it like LeBron. Hey. Monday Night Fredo, Infinity TV. Monday Night
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome live to Monday Night Fredo here in Los Angeles from the Infinity Studios. And believe it or not, guys, I know everyone had an amazing time this weekend with all the excitement with NBA playoffs. And yes, I was right about one thing, but I was also wrong about other things. But I'm going to get a little bit into that a little later. I just want to let you know what we got going on here today. We got a lot of NBA playoffs. Of course, the Boston Celtics just dropped a big game at home against the Embiid-less Philadelphia 76ers, which was just incredible the way James Harden played today. I have not seen that from Harden in almost 5 years. Again, currently right now, we got Kevin Durant in Denver facing off Jokic and them. It's a tight, close ball game right now. So as soon as this show ends, man, I'm going to tune in to go ahead and watch what KD is going to finish off. As well, we got some baseball action throughout the day, but we got a very special guest here with us today in studio. We got Marisa Flores from the Sporting Tribune, which will be joining us live here on Monday Night Fredo in a little bit. But I do want to go ahead and get started with this, guys. Of course, every time when I got a chance to see what happened on Friday night in Los Angeles, we got a chance to see what LeBron James and Anthony Davis are pretty much capable of doing when healthy. I mean, these two guys, when healthy, they have not lost a playoff series. They have not. They're 5-0. They won the 4 series in 2020, which is technically the bubble 2020. And then you won the first series right now. But they're facing off another team, which is the Golden State Warriors. Yes, they had a tremendous 50-point scoring performance by Stephen Curry last night, but that team is also undefeated. Steve Kerr has not lost to a Western Conference team in almost 8-9 years. It is just crazy to think that the Warriors have never seen or lost a series with Steve Kerr as a head coach. It's unbelievable. It's crazy. They have not lost to a Western Conference team. So what is it going to take for the Lakers to overcome that situation? To me, when I look at a situation like that, yes, the Warriors played 7 games. They just finished off on Sunday. Now they had to get kind of one-day rest, prepare for the Lakers for tomorrow night in Golden State. What the Lakers are capable of doing right now, they can really steal game 1, which right now, that's exactly what Philadelphia did. They had no Joel Embiid. They went into Boston, into the TD Garden, where everyone is rude as hell because every single fan in Boston is talking so much trash. If you guys got a chance to see what they were saying about Trae Young, I mean, I don't want to repeat the words that all 20,000 fans at the TD Garden were saying about Trae Young. They were saying, F you, Trae Young. F you, Trae Young. Those fans are nuts. But the fans in Golden State are not like those fans right there. But the way Stephen Curry plays, the way Klay Thompson plays, and the way Draymond play, I see this game being stretched out, not due to the play, but due to, hey, a lot of people want to say that the NBA is rigged. I kind of, at times, makes me believe that the NBA is going to fix this series to be extended 7 games. There is no way that the NBA is going to let a game go by with not being played and not using sponsorships, marketing, money, business. At the end of the day, this is the business move. So I know Adam Silver is going to do something to extend this series and make it like one of the best playoff series we've ever seen. Right now, a buy-in ticket to get into the arena, either any 7 games, is going for about $750 right now. Any game you want to get into, it's going to cost you about $750 right now. So that's how big this series is going to be. My personal prediction, of course, I want to say that the Warriors are going to win because of their history, but there comes a time that when you see a great team like the Warriors, what they've done over the last 7, 8, 9 years, it comes to an end sooner than later. We saw the way the Warrior season started off with Draymond Green punching his own teammate. And then we see the rest of the drama, the rest of the injuries. You lose certain players. And the Warriors were kind of not all there this year. Suddenly, they were able to get past the Sacramento Kings. I don't think they're going to get past the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers have been just playing too good ever since the trade deadline. They hold the best record in the NBA since the trade deadline. I cannot see the Lakers losing this series. I see the Lakers winning it in 7. The only thing that I'm going to hold back, and I'm going to leave this off before I go to commercial break and we bring Marisa Flores onto the show. I have a feeling that the only reason why the Lakers might not win the series is because of coaching. Darvin Ham will get out coached. That's exactly what happened with Mike Brown. I mean, Mike Brown got out coached at the end of the day by Steve Kerr. So the only way the Lakers are going to lose this series is because of Darvin Ham's coaching decisions. That's where I'm going to leave it off right there, because I'm going to hold a little more towards the end of the show. I have a lot more to say, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we return here on Monday Night Fredo, we have the great and the one and only Marisa Flores joining us here. Okay, we'll be returning.
Profanity Nation. A podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss. Raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool. Good.
3 championships in 5 years. You more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Powered by Jesse Brown of Keller Williams.
And we're back here on Monday Night Fredo with myself, of course, Fredo Cervantes. And don't forget, right now that you're here on the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification button, because you're going to get all the notifications of all the great shows we got here. Of course, last night, if you did not tune in, make sure you check out the Profanity Nation every Sunday night, 8:30 Pacific, here on the Infinity Studios. Of course, the breaks, catches there on the breaks. We got some new guests on the breaks, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Check that out. But right now, we're here back in studio, and we got the one and only Marisa Flores from the Sporting Tribune. Marisa, how you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me, Fredo. I'm excited to be here.
No problem. Well, thank you for coming down here on the Monday night, because we got a lot of great things to talk about. And I know, Marisa, you cover the Clippers, you cover the Angels. We're going to start with the Clippers, because, what the Clippers did about a week ago, the season ended. It ended in a rough way. Due to injuries. I guess we can say that, due to injuries. Paul George didn't play at all. Kawhi played in the first 2 games. They looked pretty good in the first 2 games. Kawhi, he averaged 36 points in the first 2 games. He played great. What do you think happened? What happened after game 2? What happened after game 2?
One thing about Kawhi is in those first 2 games, he was playing some of his best basketball, in my opinion. He looked like vintage Kawhi, and everyone knew it, everyone saw it. But in game 2, he did look a little more shaky than he did in game 1. And initially, I believe, before we found out it was a deal with his meniscus, we believed it was just a sprain, I think is what they said, sprained right knee. And obviously, it's the same injury that PG had, so I think everyone in Clipper Nation kind of knew it wasn't going to be a good sign, and that the series might not end well for the Clippers unless Russell Westbrook could really put on a performance, and he did, to his credit,
Yes.
and the rest of the bench did too. But when you have, I think even if you had one of them, PG or Kawhi, that would have been an easy to Game 7 series.
Yes, it
For
would have been
sure.
very interesting to go ahead and see that, because it could have really made something out of the Clippers, because we talked a little bit about this prior to the show, about how the history of the Clippers is. Every time, whether they have it, especially since Steve Ballmer, I guess, kind of came along 2011, 2012, since Steve Ballmer bought the team, it seemed like every year they had a chance. Every year has been a failing season to them. Maybe not according to Giannis Antetokounmpo, who says failure does not belong in sports, or whatever he said, which I kind of want to talk on that too. But every year it seems to be the case, the same case. What do you think the Clippers got to do now? Like, now after this year, Russell Westbrook's off the books. Should they bring Westbrook back next season?
He's a free agent. Ultimately, that's going to be up to Westbrook. Westbrook is a player that knows his value, but since he's went to UCLA, he knows the city, and he ultimately ended up staying in LA. I think he likes it in LA. What we've seen from him so far, I think he's going to want to stay out here personally. Like I said, he knows his worth, though, and I think it depends on who's going to give him that contract. My thing with him, though, is everyone was bagging on him in the beginning of the season, and for good reason. He wasn't being the best shooter with the Lakers, and I think
we know that.
Laker Nation's they're used to that caliber of talent. They want shooters on their team, but to me, Russell Westbrook's never really been a shooter. He's been more of he's that person that's going to get those assists, kind of get those rebounds, kind of really help out on defense. And that was my whole thing in the beginning of the series. They counted out the Clippers way too early, a lot of people, in my opinion. I think we haven't seen Kawhi play against KD in a long time before we knew it was going to happen with Kawhi, obviously. And I think Book being who Book is, you have Westbrook on defense now with Kawhi, who knows all of Durant's nuances, all of his habits after playing with him on the Thunder for a little bit. So I don't know. My whole thing, I just thought people counted them out way too early. But once that injury happened, I think for Clipper Nation, it was, like you said, just history repeated itself once again. It was my first season covering the Clippers, though, and I felt sympathy for Clipper Nation because I witnessed firsthand what it was like. Because, like I said, Kawhi was playing some of his best caliber basketball in a long time from what I've seen. And to kind of see him ride that high and then just have this problem with his meniscus and possibly need surgery now and just reach that low, it's hard to see. It's tough to see. But I know this is the story, like you said, with Clipper Nation. I think if the team can stay together, and because we just said if they had just won Kawhi or PG in that series,
it could have been something different.
Exactly. Even against Denver too, if they ended up going against Denver, God forbid, in the Western Conference Finals, I think that even would have been a tough series too between those two teams. But to have both of your star players out, it's a big obstacle.
So do you think that the Clippers should possibly continue investing in someone who's maybe not available throughout the year? Because it seems since, this is Kawhi's fourth season, if I'm correct, this is fourth season with the Clippers, every year he's been hurt besides the 2020 bubble time, and in the 2020 bubble time when they were healthy, they lost a 3-1 series to the Denver Nuggets. They were up 3-1, then they lost that series. They went home after the bubble. They haven't put it together. And to me, it seems like if I was Steve Ballmer, I maybe give up on those two guys, keeping them together. I maybe would, because I feel if they cannot be healthy in the most important time of the season, I'm gonna go get myself a guy like Jimmy Butler, who is playing his ass off the way he's doing right now. I'll go get a guy like him, or I'll go get maybe like a Jalen Brunson before he went to New York. So there's other guys that could maybe build off of PG, because PG seems to be maybe he's a very good player, but maybe not a number one player at times. He had it going into Indiana years ago. Now he kind of lost his step. So that's the reason why I feel like he's not a number one no more. But if you put the right people around him, he maybe can be. Do you think they should maybe move on from Kawhi? Or
I think if Kawhi and PG do stay, I can definitely see their contracts being adjusted, because history has repeated itself way too many times now. And I think now everyone knows that these players are injury prone. But that being said, we're in a day and age now where these players also know their worth, and they're going to want those contracts. And if you're not going to give them the amount they want, they're going to go find the team. They're going to go find the team that will. And there are people that will. But Ballmer is an owner too, who's not afraid to put up that money. And I think too, with this new stadium coming up, I think 2024 by the 2024 season is what they were saying to be unveiled. But I think with that new stadium coming up too, the team is at chance of a rebuild. I could see Steve Ballmer really wanting to rebuild the team before they move into that new stadium and really maybe enter a new phase for that franchise, seeing as that's going to be their new home for however long it will be. But yeah, I definitely see their contracts being adjusted, but it's hard because, like I said, we have players nowadays who, if you're not going to give them the deal they want, they're going to go to a different team. And Ballmer is a person who, he's one of the biggest basketball fans, let's be honest.
No, his energy on the court is crazy.
Yeah, so he has an eye for talent, and he's going to invest in talent. But now that he knows two of his best players are injury prone, I think both of them are definitely at risk of possibly possibly being
Woo! Well, let's see what happens with that during the summertime, because the summer NBA offseason summer is always the best. I feel there's always so many movement, so many things that just kind of change the landscape of the NBA. It can go lopsided or not, but with the Lakers right now, they're the only team that maybe at the beginning of the year, starting 2-10, no one thought they were going to make the playoffs. And believe it or not, I was one of them, guys. I was one of them that did not believe. I gave up on them early in the year, and that's when Mike earlier on before he left the studio, he was talking about how I gave up on the Lakers. I did. I didn't believe in them. I felt like they were just kind of pointing the finger at one guy, which was Russell Westbrook. I didn't think the whole season or even last season was on Russell Westbrook, because he was the only one that was actually healthy staying on the court. And the same situation happened with him in the Clippers. He was the only one healthy at the end of the day. So I felt like he's not the problem. Yes, he's not the best shooter, but when you got some pieces around him, he will make something happen, just the way he did it in game one for, against the Suns. But the Lakers right now kind of turn it all around. They have the best record since, the trade deadline. They acquired D'Angelo Russell, Vanderbilt, Beasley, Bamba, which I still don't know why Darvin Ham's not playing Bamba. What do you think the Lakers are right now? Like, do you buy into a championship year with the Lakers, or are you just seeing like, okay, they got past the first round, they're gonna leave prior to? Because I don't know, do the Warriors have a chance against them, or what's gonna happen there?
We just went from talking about Clipper Nation and how injury prone their star players are, and God, with this Lakers team, that's been my whole thing, is they're inconsistent. Like, their runs are great runs. When they ride those highs, they're playing great caliber basketball, but those lows are some lows, and they end up in some injuries and those players missing out on games. So it's hard. I mean, every time AD goes down, I get nervous.
Oh, shit. Yes.
You know what I mean? And with both of these teams, though, are coming off of opponents. They face some opponents who aren't really at their talent level, I'd say, because you have the Warriors, who are going to face a lot tougher defense with the Lakers than they did against the Kings. And then on the flip side, too, I'm sorry, I was going to say the Timberwolves, the Grizzlies. I don't know why my mind is
Timberwolves.
I know. I think the colors always get me confused. The Grizzlies, I'm sorry. They don't have the best shooting, especially in those last two games, and you have one of the best shooters on the Warriors. So these are going to be some major adjustments for both teams. It's going to be different. But I like what you pointed out earlier, though. Steve Kerr is an amazing coach who was coached in my opinion, by the best coach in the game, Phil Jackson. And I think I can definitely see him bringing in those principles that Phil had for that Bulls team into this playoff series against the Lakers. And I think the series is going to go to 7. You have LeBron, who is LeBron, and he's gonna fight, and AD too. But like I said, my whole thing with that team is they're too inconsistent for me. But the Warriors did take a beating. They took a beating in this game, and I didn't think people expected them to take that caliber of a beating either in that opening series. So it's a toss up.
Give me a pick. Give me a pick right now. Who and how many games, and who's going to take it?
I see it going to 7 games because, like I said, the caliber of talent that you have on both teams. But if the Lakers stay healthy, going to 7 games, both teams staying healthy. But I think I'm going to have to pick the Warriors.
Woo!
I'm going to have to.
Yes. Well, hey, you know what? The Warriors are, arguably the best team in the last decade or so. So when you look at Steph Curry, the way he performed in the first series, I thought the Warriors were done after being done down 2-0. I thought they were done. Maybe they'll probably get 1, and then Sacramento will win the next 2. But I don't know what happened within that team. They, the suspension with Draymond in Game 3. They won that first one. They won another one, tied up the series. When they won Game 5 in Sacramento, I thought, okay, that's the moment they're going to take over the series. I thought they were going to close it in Game 6. They let that one get away. But the way they perform in Game 7 gets me a little scared. But I just know it's going to be one of the best series that we're ever going to watch. I feel like Steph Curry and LeBron James, this is NBA Finals. This is not second round material right here. Exactly. So for us to be having this in the second round is going to be pretty great, because I would say now that, KD and that Denver series up there kind of really don't matter. I feel like this series right now is going to take the whole attention in the Western Conference, but I just want to say Lakers in 7. I just feel like LeBron or Curry, I go with LeBron. I'm not even going to care about the teammates or who's hurt and who's what. I just you put 2 guys together. I just feel, okay, you know what? Leadership, experience, greatest of all time, greatest shooter. I take LeBron James. That's my
True.
pick.
True.
But
Doesn't
go ahead.
doesn't Steph have 2 scoring titles?
He does.
compared
He
to-
does have 4 rings. They both have 4 rings. So they're
True,
tied up.
true.
They both have 4 rings. They're tied up. So it's gonna be an interesting series right here.
Right,
Interesting. But
right.
Marissa got him at 7. I got the Lakers at 7. When we return here on Monday Night Fredo, we're gonna go ahead and touch some base on some baseball because baseball's pretty interesting right now. It's the first month of the baseball season. There's a lot of teams that are just not just there yet. Like no one would imagine the Pittsburgh Pirates to be in first place right now. And the way they've been playing, been pretty good. 2 teams here in Southern California have been kind of, solid. I guess that's a nice word to say. They've been solid right now, even though the Angels maybe have been playing a little better. But we will touch base on both of those 2 teams when we return here on Monday Night Fredo.
United One Protection Services. With over 30 years of experience, United One Protection Services has more expertise and knowledge than the other security companies combined. Residential, commercial, municipal, or institutional, United One Protection Services does more than just security. We protect your livelihood. United One Protection Services.
And we're back here on Monday Night Fredo, guys. Myself, Fredo Cervantes, Marisa Flores again here in studio with us. And we're going to touch a little bit on some baseball. And of course, Marisa, you covered the Angels. The Angels always seem to be, I don't know what it is. Is it the same thing like the Clippers, Lakers, Angels, Dodgers, the way it is in Southern California? A lot of people want to look at it that way. But the Angels have won. They won in 2002. So, it's been about 21 years since they won. But one of the biggest stories that's surrounding the Angels right now, I'm pretty sure you hear a lot about this, is what's going to happen with Shohei Ohtani. Arguably the best player that we've maybe seen in almost 100 years since Babe Ruth was around. This guy can pitch, he can hit, and he can do it all. And he's still pretty young. He's only been in the league here for about 3 years. I believe this is his 3rd season, I think it is. People are saying he's going to be the first $750 million ball player, maybe $1 billion ball player. It's going to happen sooner than later. He's under a year left in his contract, whether the Angels are going to trade him or they're going to let him walk away, because it seems like he might walk away, right? It seems like he might walk away, but the Angels got to be smart enough to get rid of him at the deadline. What do you think they're going to do with Ohtani?
I think it's going to come down to playoffs. I think if they don't make it to playoffs this year, then they're going to lose him. Like we were talking about earlier, we're in a day and age now where these players know their worth, they know their talent, and they're going to go where they're wanted, where they want to play. I think Ohtani has grown with this Angels team. I think he's grown to love Anaheim, love it with this organization as well. But that being said, he is one of the best players we've seen in such a long time. And to be on a team that's constantly struggling, they're going to have to produce some numbers and some stats this season if they're going to want to see that talent stay on that team.
No, yeah, definitely. And with Mike Trout still on the
Right.
team as well. Two of the best, maybe 2 out of 5, 2 of the best top 5 players in baseball right now on the same team together. They haven't had a bad start this year like they've had in the past. They're a little better this year. What do you think it's been good for them in the first month?
They made some major roster adjustments, I think, even before the season started. With Rengifo, you have Rendon, who's kind of playing it at third, and I think Rendon's also a player too when he has those highs and lows. Every athlete does, but I think he's been producing some great numbers for them this season. And in terms of pitching too, you have one of the best pitchers on your team, but you can't just rely on Shohei. And I think that's where they might struggle this season. Like we were talking about with the Warriors, how they kind of depended on Steph in that opening series and it didn't look too good for them. It's not going to go good for the Angels if they depend on that one player too. Both on defense, pitching, and hitting too, because I mean, to be 1 month into the series, though, they're above 0.5, I think, right now, which
Right.
is pretty good. But with the caliber of talent you have in the MLB right now, they're going to need to up the ante a little bit. But I think those roster changes that they made and those additions that they have definitely been helping out. I mean, Zach Neto at shortstop too. I did a piece on him not too long ago. He's really been killing it with this Angels team, and if he keeps producing on defense how he is, and the whole team, honestly, their defense is where it's going to count, honestly, because like you said, they have two of the biggest hitters in the MLB right now, in my opinion, and the defense wins you games, it wins you
Right.
championships. So they're just going to have to keep that run going.
Yeah, baseball, errors will kill you in baseball. It's like in
Right.
basketball, turnovers can kill you, but errors will kill you in baseball.
Absolutely.
10 times more than in basketball. With what the Angels are doing this season, and Artie Moreno, the owner, which it seems like he's gonna sell the team. He took the team back. There's just the front office. I mean, I believe 3 years ago, the GM walked away out on them early in the season. It's just kind of been a mess. What's going on with that? Like, do you know what's going on with the ownership? Are they selling? Are they keeping?
I don't personally know. I mean, I think everyone always has an idea, seeing as how he backed out last season. It is in a shaky spot right now, in my opinion. I can definitely see it going one way or the other in the next, I honestly give it maybe 2 or 3 years, where we might see a change of ownership if that's the route they really want to end up going to. But I don't know. It's a toss-up. I think seeing how the hesitance that he had with that, because that's a big decision,
Right.
to sell an organization. And if you're going to do that, it's hard to kind of back out of that. And if you're going to do that, I think you're in a spot now where the public eye is on you and kind of just waiting for you to sell now, because they know it's on your mind. So I can definitely see it happening soon. Whether it will for sure or not, I don't know. I mean, I expected it to when he first announced it, and he ended up backing out, which I was shocked to hear.
Yeah, no, I was shocked too, because I thought they were going to sell it and get rid of it, but he was like, "No, I'm gonna keep this." I think if I was him, you got two of the biggest stars, like you can build something around them, and and the Angels, I guess they got money, they're not that cheap, so they can spend it. They just got to spend it the right way. I felt that when they had the manager, what's his name again? If you can recall the manager from last season, they got fired. What was Hall of Fame?
Not before Devin, right?
Before, yeah. God, he was a Tampa Bay manager for a while.
Oh God, I know exactly.
Oh my God, I can't forget his name. Joe Madden?
The scandal, yeah.
Joe Madden. I thought that was the turnaround when they got him. He was a big time coach. Nothing happened. They fired him. But I just figured, like, the Angels, they got to get it together. As a Dodger fan, I'm waiting for Shohei Ohtani. Dodger fans are like, man, he's gonna walk away or he's gonna get traded. Wherever he goes, he might test the market. But let's see what happens with that. It's gonna be very interesting to see what happens with that. But the most interesting part that's gonna happen is gonna be you are finalizing your 4 years at Cal State Fullerton.
Yes.
So congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
What happened? How did you get started? What made your decision into going into Fullerton?
Right. So going to Fullerton, it was always set from the start for me. We were talking a little bit earlier. I had a cousin who I've always looked up to growing up, graduate from Fullerton, and I saw her 4 years play out before mine did. She graduated, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years before me, but ever since then, and seeing her tenure at Fullerton, I knew that's where I wanted to go. I did apply for other SoCal schools because I ultimately wanted to stay in Southern California, but I kind of just knew in my head that Fullerton was where it was at for me. I can't really pinpoint to you what it was about it. I knew they had a great baseball team. I ultimately ended up majoring communications just because I saw it's what my cousin did, but she was just a big reason of why I even wanted to go there. And when I did, and I got that acceptance letter, I just knew I was
I'm going here.
That's where I'm going to be for the next 4 years.
And your love for sports, like, how did that come about?
My dad, I mean, my whole family, honestly, playing sports. Every Easter, we'd be at the park and there's a big softball game going on every Easter. And if there wasn't that during Easter, then it was softball games even when holidays weren't going on, that my parents always played in with family friends, like softball leagues, so just always being in that environment and being around it myself. growing up, I played softball, volleyball, and even tennis. So some
Tennis.
some unique ones in there, I know. But just memories of my dad. He coached me on 2 teams when I first played softball. That was my first sport growing up, and during that time, it really just, I don't know. He inspired me to just keep it going, and that love for sports. He always had Lakers reruns on all the time too. Didn't matter which era it was, Gasol and Kobe and Shaq, Magic, just always going. So I think just always being surrounded by sports, just always being around that competitive nature, it was just like second nature to me.
There it is. Well, congratulations as well in joining the Sporting Tribune, covering the Angels, covering the Clippers. But before we do get going here, we did talk about this, and I have not done this in a while, so give me a quick second. But we do have the Kobe quiz. I used to do a Kobe quiz with every guest I get on the studio. I do a Kobe quiz. It's 8 questions in 24 seconds. All right. Mm-hmm. So if you give me one quick second, technology nowadays, I got to go ahead and get this thing so I don't have to do it from the top of my head. But as I got you guys waiting, don't forget, make sure you tune in tomorrow and catch me on the breaks. You can catch me on the breaks tomorrow 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific. Also catch us on Wednesdays and Thursdays here on Infinity Studios as I'm looking for this, but I cannot find it, so I will do it from the top of my head. 8 questions, 24 seconds. You ready?
Yeah, let's do
it. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, here it comes. Question number 1, tequila or vodka?
Tequila.
Oh, okay. Pizza or tacos?
Tacos.
All right. Lakers or Clippers? Ooh, got him right there. Lakers. LeBron or Kobe?
Kobe.
Okay. I see something there. The Rams or the LA Chargers here in LA?
Oh, if you're gonna pick, I'm gonna go Rams.
Woo, Rams. Okay.
I'm a Broncos fan. That's why.
Oh, you're a Broncos fan. Oh, okay. Now I see why you went with the Rams. Was that 8 questions or not? Right about there. There it is. Good job, Shamit. I didn't have it ready, guys. So I apologize about that. We'll redo it if we have you guys, if we have you back again on the show. So Marisa, it was a pleasure to have you here on Monday Night Fredo. Thank you for stopping by again. Let the people know where they can follow you on Instagram and Twitter and where they can catch all your work.
All right, absolutely. So follow me at It's Marisa Flores. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It's all going to be at It's Marisa Flores. Really trying to build up my brand out here. I love LA sports. So if you care about LA sports too, definitely follow me.
There it is. And it's right there, right on the screen for you guys. Right. So again, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well at Fredo Cervantes, FREDO CARVANTES. And next Monday, catch me here on Monday Night Fredo. But actually, next Monday night is going to be game 4 between the Warriors and the Lakers. So it's going to be a very interesting Monday night. What is it going to look like? I have no idea. You make sure you tune in next Monday night and catch me here. Thank you again, Marisa, for being on the show. We'll see you guys next week.